Hey, welcome back. Happy Monday. I hope y'all had a great weekend. It was my birthday weekend, so we celebrated throughout. A few years ago, I say a few years ago, in the 70s and 80s, when a lot of us had birthdays, you had a birthday. Now it's a birthday month or a birthday week. It's just, sometimes it gets too much. But being 35, you only turn 35 once, so I'm probably the oldest looking 35-year-old, but I'm sticking to that. So last week was an incredible week. I told you we would get back and tell you sort of how it went. It started off pretty tough on Monday. We had a murder that I was telling you about last week, Sheridan Fogle. We certainly had done a lot of work of tracking everybody down, getting everybody into court. I just want y'all to think of having a birthday party or any sort of party where everybody's got to attend. And this crazy aunt is in Disney World that week. This cousin, he's locked up somewhere. That one, it's tough. But once you herd all of these cats together and you get in there on Monday, and the judge continues it, that's why I sound like a broken record. Some of them, at least statewide, gets mad with me about being opposed to all of these continuances. But that's why. There's a lot of work and a lot of money. We had to find this one woman in that case that was homeless, and we had her put up in a hotel here nearby to use in this trial, only to get it continued. So that's how it sort of started. But then as that fell through, we were able to call the second, the third, and the fourth case. And as I always tell you, they all pled guilty. So there was some good that came of it. Asia Price of Columbia pled to 2 counts of armed robbery. He got 20 years. That was in front of Judge Carricker. An armed robbery is, of course, when you use a deadly weapon. That took place in Myrtle Beach. Myrtle Beach Police Department did a really good job of putting that together, and Asia Price will be serving 20 years on that charge. We had Rodolph Jimenez, 53, of Myrtle Beach. He pled guilty when his case was called for trial. That was to criminal sexual conduct with a minor in the 3rd degree. Now, what that is what we always refer to as statutory rape. If it's criminal sexual conduct with a minor 1st degree, that means that the child was 10-year-old or younger. If it's 2nd degree, that means the child is older than 10 years old, 11, but less than 14. And criminal sexual conduct in the 3rd degree, statutory rape in the 3rd degree, is the child has not reached the age of 16, but is at least 14. So this was somebody between the age of 14 and 16. Mr. Jimenez pled guilty to that. He was 53 years old, and he got 15 years for the sexual assault. Another case that was set for trial, Antonio Mercado, 20, of Myrtle Beach, pled guilty to 3rd degree criminal sexual conduct with a minor, same charge I just described to you, and he got 15 years. So both of those got 15 years, and we finally had a case to catch on the roster, and it may have been the case that for the state, but I'm, if nothing else, very transparent. Dejuan Surrency, 29, of Gresham, out near Florence, he was accused of driving. He was dating this girl, and he drove over. That girl had another boyfriend, baby daddy. Surrency was accused of driving from Marion into Horry County, shooting into the home, and then driving off and leaving. That would have just been shooting into a dwelling, but for the shot hit a 10-month-old child. The child lived. The child is now 4 or 5 years old, doing well, but the jury found that he was not guilty. We talked with some of the jurors later. They felt like it's a whole different subject we might can cover next week, but they felt like the police should have did a search warrant on the car. Yeah, I would agree with that. They felt like the police should have done a search warrant on the house. That's what our jurors were telling us after the case was over, just that there was not enough information. What we were able to prove was that the phone and the car belonging to Sorensen had come from Marion after getting a text from the girlfriend, showed up, caught on a Ring camera, shooting at the house, and then going back to Marion. But that was not enough. It was he was found not guilty, and so when that happens, all of your stuff's given back to you, and you go home. It's as though, you know, this trial is basically saying, try me and prove to 12 independent people that I did what you say I did. And we put that up at a trial, called 9 or 10 witnesses, and those jurors that we talked to said there was just not enough. There should have been more as far as search warrants. And we'll talk about that later again, but it's always important to keep in mind that prosecutors are different from police. I know, again, I sound like a broken record, but every week, not every month, but every week, I spend about 20% of my day fielding calls from people saying, go arrest Ricky, go arrest, and believe it or not, y'all, even at this ripe old age of 35, they have yet to give me a set of handcuffs, a ticket book, a gun, a police car. We're prosecutors. We prosecute what they bring us. And a lot of times I get comments back saying, why aren't y'all prosecuting all of it? Well, if it doesn't go beyond a reasonable doubt, which we did, we thought this was there, or we would not have tried that case. But it wasn't. And the jury heard everything and said, you know, it's just not enough there. So those are a lot of success stories this week, but we always want to bring you the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we did have a not guilty in that bunch. The rest of them did good, and Sheridan Fogle will be set for another term, and we will hit another continuance motion, and hopefully this time the judge will agree with us. But up until this point, it's been continued. So have a great week, and we will see you next Monday.